sturdy logs lined up in a row were a grand sight, but having just seen Rantle's walls, she couldn't help but think Khan's seemed inferior in comparison. There's so much I need to hurry and report to the headman, Henry answered the goblin in the cargo bed. 5 goblins plus Connor, the goblin cleric, were the members of the goblin troop who had accompanied her all the way to Rantle. Chaosuk the goblin rider was also with them, but he was keeping watch at a short distance. You got done half of what you needed, but the thing the headman asked for didn't go so well, was that it, boss lady? Yes, I asked the priest in the city, but no one said they would move to our village. That's weird. Some people have already moved to the village. Why aren't there more? Could the priest or whoever be lying? No, she winced. Frontier villages are dangerous, so people tend to avoid them. I was hoping for third sons or whatnot who ran off to the city after not inheriting any land, but I guess there just aren't many people who want to come out to a place like this if they are not under orders. Also, the folks who have moved to our village so far are people who already spent time in other frontier villages, so their situations are a little different. So that's just how it is. But personally I am a bit relieved. Building friendly relationships with goblins and living alongside them in a village was probably difficult for the average person to accept. She knew people from the city would be against it for sure. She also wanted to avoid trouble. Honestly, if Henry were asked to choose between new settlers from the city and the goblins, she'd choose the goblins. Just then the wagon jolted. There was some clinking and clanking from the cargo bed. Sorry, is everyone all right? Henry looked over her shoulder. The goblins were riding in the cargo bed. In one corner was a bag. Every time the wagon bumped, it made metallic noises. Yeah, we ray fine, boss lady. Don't worry about us. But hey, with this many arrowheads, we'll be able to hunt up a storm. The goblin's expression as he looked at the bag was cheerful. Seeing that, Henry forgot to answer and simply smiled. They passed through the wheat fields and entered through the open side of the gate. Henry greeted the villagers along the way. She headed first to the meeting hall. She wanted to unload her cargo. When she pulled up next to it, a goblin came out, perhaps in response to the noise. Oh, welcome back, boss lady. Glad to see you, Ray, all right. Henry grinned. The goblins had become family to her. She didn't truly feel she had returned home until they greeted her. I am home. And is that your cargo? We'll put it in here if so. That's right, brother. Sorry, but give us a hand. Aye. The goblins all sprang into action and began efficiently unloading the wagon. The fact that the goblins were cleaning up perfectly without Henry providing any instruction made it clear that they had completely adapted to life in the village. Oh, boss lady, we'll do the rest, so why don't you go see the boss man? He might be busy helping Arg heal the goblins. Thank you, but first I have to report to the headman. Oh, sorry everyone, I'll go with her just in case. There are ogres and other creatures after all. With that, Goku hopped into the box seat next to Henry. The goblins who had been with her from Rantle eyed him jealously, but no one objected, probably because what he said was right. Okay, boss lady, let us go. Henry smiled awkwardly. Thanks, and I appreciate your help. She thanked the goblins and pulled the wagon away. So did anything happen while I was gone? Not much. We put up a building so the ogres can live inside the village. We had the stone golems carry the lumber. It's not fancy, but we made a cabin for them. I wonder if we can do anything about how much they smell. Their stench instantly permeated all the blankets we gave them. But wow, you did all that so fast. It was thanks to the stone golems. We'll have to thank the great caster. And Lupus Regina too. Somehow, I just don't want to thank Lupus Regina, or rather, I don't like her. Henry thought she misheard. She'd never heard Goku gossip behind someone's back before. How do I put it? She's scary. She's always watching us, like a magical beast who could attack at any time. It seems like you don't feel that way, but well, supposedly she's a maid of Aints Ool Gown, so I don't think she could be such a bad person. Well, that's not very nice. Henry and Goku both flinched. It was the voice of the woman they had just been talking about. When they whirled around, the maid was sitting very matter-of-factly in the cargo bed, like she had been the other day. What are we going to do with this guy, N? What do you mean? Before that, I want you to tell me how you keep appearing like that. It's simple. I come out of the sky, that's all. I don't think so. We would notice even if you were coming from above. But I have lots of tricks I can use, like turning invisible. I am just doing my best to go unnoticed." "How thoughtful of me," the goblin faced forward again, seemingly exasperated. "But hey, it's rare that you would visit 2 days in a row. What happened?" Lupus Regina squinted at Henry. "Even that face is cute when a pretty lady makes it," she thought without really meaning to. "Well, whatever. I was just wondering how things went. Like how's the mini-goblin? He's good. I think he's probably at the headman's house at the moment," said Goku. "Why at the headman's?" "We saved a bunch of the goblins from his tribe, right? He should be there talking about finding a place for them to live." "Oh right, he's the chief's son, huh? He must have some responsibility when it comes to the survivors. Well, I gotta hand it to him, and he's just a kid." She guffawed in a goofy way, but the accompanying smile was charming on a woman as beautiful as her. Henry gazed admiringly at her despite the fact that they were both girls. "Oops, better keep an eye on the road." "Oh, you're right." Henry turned back around, blushing to her ears. She stopped outside the headman's house, and she and Goku got off the wagon. "Okay, I'll take the horse back to the stable for you. Don't wanna get in your way. Hope you'll tell me what you guys talk about later, though." "Understood. I am sorry to burden you, but thanks for taking the horse." Lupus Regina responded to Henry Espo with a K and drove the wagon away. They knocked, announced their arrival to the voice inside, and opened the door. Arg and the headman were sitting immediately inside, facing each other at a table. "Oh, welcome back. Take a seat right there. How was the city?" Henry sat next to Arg as instructed. She seemed to tense up for a moment, but maybe she was imagining things. "I'll be going now. Thanks for all your help, Chief." For a moment they didn't know who he was talking to. Henry, Goku, and the headman were in the room, so he should have been talking to the headman. But Arg was looking straight at Henry. She peered intently into his eyes, but couldn't find any hint of a joke in his sincere look. "Wait, what? Why did he say that to me?" Arg bowed and left the headman's house before Henry could figure it out. "What? Wait, so Henry, will you tell me what happened?" No, I mean, but yes, okay." It bothered her, but she could get her question answered later. Her report was more important. Having decided that, she gave a concise account to the headman of what had transpired in the city. The most critical item was that no one wanted to move there. But it was almost as if the headman had expected that. He look disappointed at all. "I see. Well, that makes sense. Not many people want to move to a frontier settlement where monsters are likely to appear." He gave voice to exactly what Henry had been thinking. Surely everyone in the village thought the same thing. "Thanks for going." In response to his bow, she said it was no problem. There had been various issues, but on the whole, it was a good experience. And then he looked at the goblin for a split second. "There's something I'd like to ask of you, Henry Emmott." "Oh, okay. What might that be?" "You're being so formal, sir. I want you to take over my job." Her expression warped. She seemed to be pulling a face. What does that even mean? Is that what Arg meant? What? I understand you're confused. I am a bit more than confused. Are you going senile, sir? Why would you say that's senile? Now that's just cruel. You seem a bit bewildered, and I understand that, but I want you to calm down and listen to me. Calm down. How am I supposed to calm down? Why would you want a village girl like me to take on such a huge responsibility? Besides, what's this chief thing about? Would you just relax? He probably meant to sound commanding, but to Henry it only sounded loud. Still, she managed to regain some composure. Perhaps a corner of her mind had whispered to her that she wouldn't understand what he was saying if she didn't listen. "I know you're not following. But please listen calmly to what I have to say. Who is the central figure in the village right now? That's you, isn't it? You're the headman? No, I think it is safe to say that you are the center of the village at the moment. The goblins and the new ogres all acknowledge you as their leader as well, right? That's right. We think of the boss lady as the central figure. And the goblins you saved, including Arg, all think of you as their chief too." Henry curled her mouth into a frown. It is true that was what the goblins thought. But what about the villagers who had been here since long before that? There was no way they would accept this. "I pretty much know what you're thinking. You think the villagers would be against it, right? I already checked with everyone. Last night I held a meeting with just the villagers to hear their opinion. The result was that everyone agrees to recognize you as the new headwoman. But why? That's what a huge shock the attack was, Henry. Everyone wants a strong leader. What is so strong about me? I am just a village girl." She had the feeling she'd put a little muscle on her arms, but she was still nothing but a peasant who couldn't wield a weapon to save her life. If they wanted someone strong, One of the self-defense squad members like Brita would have been better. Strong doesn't necessarily mean that individual is courageous. Being able to command goblins isn't that another kind of strength. The Baylor family also thinks you fit for the job. NFI, Henry squawked like a chicken getting its neck wrung. Besides, I am getting on in years. It wouldn't be so strange for me to hand over the reins sometime soon. What do you mean getting on in years? You're not that old. I thought you were acting bizarrely grandfatherly. Is this what that was about? It seemed a bit too early to declare someone in their mid-40s a senior citizen. Some would even call it the prime of their lives. Setting aside whether I seem grandfatherly or not, the village is changing. Now that the wise king of the forest is gone, there's a higher likelihood that monsters will come out of the woods. At times like that, my making decisions based on our experience when times were safer 1T cut it. Sir, I realize this is a rude thing to ask, but aren't you just running away? I'll be honest. I can deny that. The eyes that met Henry's gaze showed a man bearing his heart. I still think about that horrific day. Villagers who were like family to me were killed. I knew your parents well. If we hadn't been living idly, but had built a sturdy wall like we have now, if we had been more on guard, maybe things wouldn't have ended so badly. Maybe we could have bought time until Sir Gaun arrived to save us. Henry felt it would still have been difficult. Survivors who moved to Khan originally came from other villages that the knights had razed. It was possible the walls surrounding their homes hadn't been as solid as the one protecting Khan now. But regardless, they had still been attacked and slaughtered. Even so, she did agree that if they could have bought even a little bit of time, they could have saved more lives. The old way of thinking is no good. We need to create a new system and keep this village safe with our own hands. The only ones who can do that are the open-minded young people, and of them, it has to be someone with power. The headman finished saying his piece. He gazed at Henry with a gentle expression. Henry mulled over his words and gave it serious thought. She refused at first because the responsibility was so great. She couldn't be responsible for the villagers' lives if they were attacked again. But isn't that just running away, like I accused him of doing earlier? I don't know if I can do such a big job. That's only natural. You'll have me to assist with administrative duties. The goblins will support you for security issues, but it's still terrifying to be the one making the final decision. What about a system of representation where all the villagers participate? I did consider that, but opinions tend to diverge more sharply the more important an issue is. We end up getting nowhere. I really do think that if we don't have someone leading the way, we won't even be able to come to a consensus on things we already agree on. What if we had one system for peaceful times and one system for emergencies? That won't work. We can cultivate leaders that way. It's precisely because you show leadership during times of peace that you can put people to work efficiently during emergencies. They acknowledge your authority. The headman's conviction was strong, and his argument was sound. With a distressed look on her face, Henry asked the only question she had left. When should I let you know? I won't say you have to tell me now. Take your time and think it over. Yes, sir. With that, Henry stood from her seat. As they left the headman's house, Henry turned around to look at Goku. Hey, I want to think things over for a bit, so do you mind giving me some time to myself? You got it, boss lady. Take your time. We're on your side, you know. Please tell us if you ever need anything. Yes, I will, thanks. After watching Goku go, she headed for her own house. Can I do the headman's job? Personally, she felt it was out of the question. It was possible a time would come when she would have to give unimaginable orders, like sacrificing a minority to save the majority. I wouldn't be able to do that. The villagers all think too highly of me. Everyone valued her for the goblins, but she hadn't negotiated to get them on the village's side. They just came out of the horn given to her by the great caster Aints Ul Gaun. The item came after the good fortune of being saved. Wait, she did get saved first, right? Sir Gaun was wearing a mask. He was wearing a mask, right? She suddenly felt like her memory of those events was fuzzy. This was probably because the whole situation was so extreme and chaotic. She shook her head and cleared her mind of those doubts. Anyhow, if someone else had received the horn, the proposal of being the next head of the village would have gone to that person, not her. In other words, it had nothing to do with Henry's ability. The wheel of fortune simply spun in her favor. She should talk to someone. The first person she thought of was Enfira. He used to live in the big city and had met lots of different kinds of people. She had the feeling he would be able to tell if she was right for the position or not. Plus, he knew a lot of things. She could probably get a precise answer from him. But the headman had told her that the Belair family, which included Enfira, was in favor, so there was a good chance that if she asked him, he would simply tell her she should be headwoman. This is no good. She can ask anyone from the village. That would mean Arg or the ogres, but Arg was calling her chief, so he out, and the ogres don't seem too smart. As Henry was furrowing her brow, a bright voice called out to her, "Yo, looks like you done talking. What a serious face. Something bothering ya?" The voice hit her like a bolt of lightning. Right, someone from outside the village. Here was a neutral third party who could calmly assess the situation. Henry ran over to Lupus Regina at full speed. Lupus Regina, she clutched the surprised woman's shoulders. What's wrong? Lupus Regina said. "I got butterflies in my stomach, but spare me the confession. I am not into girls." Stop. Don't rape me. Whoa, hold on. Henry released her shoulders and tried to cover her mouth. Lupus Regina nimbly dodged her and grinned. "Nah, sorry. Anyhow, it seems you a little riled up, so maybe just calm down a bit. I was only joking." That's a horrible joke. Henry's shoulders slumped, but she recovered immediately. Lupus Regina usually disappeared as suddenly as she appeared, so if Henry didn't ask her now, the maid might be gone before another chance came. "Please listen and tell me what I should do. I don't know what this is about, but it'd be great if you could tell me while we walk. I don't want the villagers giving us weird looks." Henry blushed. Lupus Regina had a point. But then don't scream about rape. Lupus Regina made a cute face with her tongue sticking out. "Arg, Lupus Regina. Okay, let us go. Without waiting for a reply, Lupus Regina set off, and Henry followed her. Now, tell big sister Lupus Regina what's on your mind. I can teach you everything from sex tips to how to trick boys. Really? You so mature." To Henry, who had no experience in such matters, Lupus Regina seemed extremely experienced. Although nothing had changed, the maid suddenly appeared more grown up. I may not look it, but I've been around, you know. Been around." As she wondered what that could mean, Lupus Regina gestured at her to bring on the questions. For the time being, she set aside the ones that didn't matter and told her about what happened at the headman's house. "So what should I do? Like I know." That was all she said. "What? But Lupus Regina, you said I could talk to you." "Sure, but that didn't mean I would give you a proper reply." "Well, listen. First, if you only take the job because someone is pushing you, you'll regret it, so definitely don't do that. You should keep thinking until you have an answer that makes sense." Lupus Regina's usual innocence had faded, giving way to alluring beauty. Normally her eyes were round, but now they tapered thin. A faint smile gave Henry shivers. "That's just my opinion. I won't tell you what to do. Break it down in your own head. One thing we can say is that no matter who becomes headman, they'll make a lot of mistakes. As far as I know, there are only about 41 people who can do everything perfectly, so it's stupid to worry about failure. And if you take a step back and really think about it, no one in this village is more fit for the job than you. Why do you think that? Go ask the goblins what they'll do if a monster they deem unbeatable attacks the village, both if you the headwoman and if you not." Lupus Regina quietly changed back to her normal cheerful expression. "Well, that was no fun. Arg, I am not into this scenario. Man, it'd be more fun if instead of you being headwoman, the village got hit by a big fat tragedy. What heh. Lupus Regina patted Henry on the shoulder. "I think you should be headwoman. As for everything else, you should ask the boy over there." She took her hand off Henry's shoulder and twirled around once. It was a light movement, as if friction didn't affect her. Later, then, Lupus Regina walked away while waving. Enfira and Nemu were standing in that direction, holding hands. She patted Enfira on the shoulder. As if that had poured energy into them, the pair started to move. "Welcome back, Henry." Nemu must have been incredibly anxious, because she raced toward her at full speed. For a moment, Henry worried she would be bowled over, but she managed to avoid it by bringing out all the strength in her leg muscles. "You're back sooner than I expected, Henry. You didn't stay the night?" "Hi to both of you." "No, I didn't. I camped on the way back." "I am glad you didn't get attacked by monsters. I can really support that choice, though. The goblins may be strong, but there are stronger monsters out there. We live on the plains, so you don't get too many out here, but still. Henry, don't do anything dangerous. Nemu grabbed her shirt, as if to say she would never let her go again. Henry was the only living family her little sister had left.